Welcome to the Actually Authentic podcast. To our viewers today on Actually Authentic, I'm joined by Mrs. Regina Ames. She's a licensed professional counselor and she's the founder of Ames Counseling Services. Regina works with adults, adolescents, and families from really diverse backgrounds, and she supports individuals in navigating anxiety, depression, distress, trauma, including survivors of sexual abuse. Her work is grounded in evidence based approaches. She uses behavioral therapy, and she believes in that healing happens when people are willing to do the work to move forward with clarity and intention. And I love that. I love that motto. So, Regina, when I invited you on the show, I want to tell everybody, all our listeners, she laughed and she said to me, like, you're really trying to stretch me, Awanda, but okay, I'm going to do it. So, I really appreciate that honesty because today's conversation is not about perfection, it's about healing, it's about identity and what it looks like to be, in a space of becoming personally and professionally. So, Regina, I want to welcome you to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And again, I thought it was so funny when you were like, oh, Wanda, you're stretching me. I'm like, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, it is a stretch.
It is a stretch. Is it a stretch for you just because of your personality, or tell me?
It's more my personality.
Okay. Are you more?
Um, I am normally like behind the scenes. I don't really talk a whole lot in groups or do the, online thing. It's just a part of my personality. And I know that a lot of that is rooted in some other things too that I'm also working on. So,
Okay.
um,
Well, then thank
that's
you
why I
then for.
said, okay, I'm gonna do this because it is stretching me. It's not like it's something that I wouldn't want to do. It's
Mhm.
just it's just being comfortable.
Right, right. I think a lot of people feel uncomfortable with letting outside folks into their inside stuff,
Hmm.
which I guess that kind of goes along with your role in your career, right? Like people have to come to you and open up and
Right.
unleash everything that's going on with them. So,
Yeah.
how do you feel like you make them comfortable to do that?
Um, First of all, it's more comfortable doing a one-on-one thing. It's just me and the other person, me and the client, and I make them comfortable by just being myself, you
Hmm.
know, um, creating a safe space for them by allowing them to be who they are and not giving um, creating a no judgment space for them to just relax and to be comfortable. And I'm asking them questions about themselves, which a lot of times people um, are more, they open up when they're being asked questions about themselves
Hmm.
and a
So,
safe
what's
space, because it's like, you know, we want to know that someone is interested.
absolutely. What do you
It-
think is something that people misunderstand about like therapists or coming to someone for therapy? Um, what do you think is like the most misunderstood thing around that?
People expect for you to have all the answers.
And like you
And
think you're gonna tell them what to do, right? Kind of like what to do to fix it.
somewhat, yeah. And the truth of the matter is the answers are within them. They just need some help figuring it out. Like someone to actually listen, to conceptualize, where they are and what's happening in their lives. And sometimes people are like, I never thought about it like that.
Right. So you're
So
giving them like a different perspective.
a different perspective, exactly.
So how do you, because when you're doing this and you're meeting with clients and you're pouring out, how do you hold space for others while continuing like your own personal growth? Does those lines ever cross?
I sit and I'm listening, and when I feel myself going into that space of identifying too much, I pull back
Okay.
and just listen.
Okay. So you make
Listen
sure to
and
keep
make
like
sure that,
clear lines.
yes,
Clear lines.
yes. And, sometimes I will share, with permission, I'll share um, some personal things that's not too personal, but that helps them to see that they're not alone in what they're going through sometimes. And I don't do that all the time, but it does help with with people sometimes to be able to say, oh, okay, so this is something that I can overcome. This is something that's not uncommon, because a lot of what people go through is not something that's uncommon,
But they think it is, right? They
but
think you're
they
like the
think it
only
is.
person going through that.
I'm the only person. Yeah.
Yeah. I will
And it,
say my
mhm,
encounter with you, I feel like you have a very calming um spirit about you, which I'm sure in therapy is very helpful. I've always felt very like calm and open anytime I've interacted with you, and I think that that's very important when it comes to all those things that
mhm,
you're touching on, like a non-judgment zone or pretty
mhm.
comfortable to open up. You just have like a very steady and calm about you. Have you been told that before?
A lot. A lot, whether it's in sessions or outside of sessions. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm curious, like, what has healing looked like for you across different seasons of your life?
Oh my goodness. Well, oh my goodness. I have been through nothing, like I said, nothing uncommon,
Right.
but it's my journey, right?
Hmm.
So I have had a lot of insecurities about myself that I've had to overcome, and realizing that I am enough, I am worthy, and always have been, even though sometimes a lot of times I thought that I wasn't,
Yeah.
didn't feel like I had anything to share, anything of value to give, but at the same time, I'm doing it every day, and which is also a part of the reason why it's like doing this is uncomfortable. So that's me battling some of my own thought processes that I am evolving out of. I'm evolving. I'm moving forward
Yeah.
and letting some of that old stuff, those old recordings go, you know. And so it has been a work. I am a work in progress. I am evolving, and that's what I like to tell my clients, is that I haven't arrived. I'm still evolving, and I ever learning and ever growing and ever finding out more things about myself. And so I think that maybe that's what's relatable for people.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. I know it is for me. I know I
Mhm.
feel like I'm evolving and changing
Mhm.
every day,
Yes.
every season of life. I know everything that you just said resounds with me, and I'm sure that when you're able to share that with your clients, that
Mhm.
gives an increased level of confidence, because sometimes we think that we should be a certain place at a
Mhm.
certain
For
time.
sure.
We should feel a certain way.
Absolutely.
But what do you think, in your opinion, what do you think that's rooted in? Do you think it's rooted in like our upbringing or just
Mhm.
our own personal journey? What are your thoughts on that?
So I believe that when we are when we're born, we come here with a clean slate. We're not worried about anything. You look at kids, they're happy, they're go lucky. They don't think, oh, I can't do this, I'm not enough. They don't go through all of that
Right.
until the world gets a hold of them. We are influenced by our parents, by our siblings, by our peers, our teachers, and the world around us. Our environment influences how we perceive ourselves.
Mhm.
And as children, we look at things, and our brains are meaning making machines, and so we make meaning out of life about who we are and who we're not. And so we carry that along with us until something happens, and it's like, oh, hold on.
Right.
Is that true? We start questioning, is that really true? And is this who I want to be?
Mm-hmm.
And how can I grow and change to become someone different?
What do you think is usually the catalyst? Because this is your field, so you talk to a bunch of
Mhm.
people. What do you think is usually the catalyst for change with people to be able to even identify what you just said, that I don't have to just stay in this place of, whatever maybe happened to me, my trauma or what I think. What do you think is usually that determining factor that changes, that happens with people that are actually willing to like pursue therapy or do the work for change?
It can be different things for different people. Sometimes it's, I've had enough. I'm tired of this. Can be some tragic situation that's happened or just some shift, they see something or involved with somebody or whatever. And it's just like a light bulb just kind of goes off. And it's like, I don't like this. I don't like the way I am feeling right now, how I'm thinking, how I'm behaving.
Mm-hmm.
I need something different. And when people come to that space of needing something different, they seek out the help that they need. There is a saying, I don't know who said it, but it's when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
I just read that yesterday.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. I just read that line yesterday. I swear to you. And I
Yeah.
really believe that things come into your life when you need them. Like
When you
right
need it.
when you need them.
Yeah. Whether it be a person, a book, a podcast, a
Yeah.
television show, something, it appears. And it's like, and now it sets you on a different path or trajectory to some place, to a different space or place. Or, so makes you want to seek out more, you
Hmm.
know. Um, for me, it was the start of this journey was me divorcing after a 21-year marriage. And, it has, and I left
21.
Portland, Oregon, which is where I was living.
Yeah, you told me that. Like, but listen, just in and of itself, 21 years
Mhm.
is a long time to
Yeah,
be in a relationship.
yeah.
So I'm sure, and then you moved.
And then I moved across country from Portland back to the East Coast.
You are so brave.
Well, thank you. I'm not going to look. I was about to say, well, people do it all the time, but no, thank you.
Don't. Stay don't. People stay in bad
They
situations,
do.
in miserable situations because
Mhm,
they're afraid or because they're
mhm,
cold. Um, I can say, I got a divorce a long time ago, but
mhm,
I also feel like a lot of times relationships ending can be catalysts for people
mhm,
to do great things or make big changes.
mhm.
Yeah. So my question for you is, I know you're divorced and you have like you're a mom of like an adult son. Has your views on all of these things like changed, as you progressed in life, like at different stages of your life? Do you feel like how you viewed, let me see what I'm trying to ask you, like how you viewed transitions has changed like over the course of your life? Like or were you always like this, like, okay, if this is not working, then I'm just gonna move to the next thing or keep doing the work?
Hey, you guys. So, if you are enjoying this video, please take a moment to like it and also subscribe to our channel and share it with your friends.
It depends on the situation.
Okay.
Yes, I do not like stagnation. So I am going to seek out, what is this where I need to be?
Okay. I,
Or,
I asked you that because I think many women experience like identity shifts, right?
oh, yes, yes, yes.
Stages of their life,
Hmm.
different transitions, maybe like
Hmm.
when they first have children or when they first get
Hmm.
is when their children are like becoming adults. I think
Hmm.
sometimes when our kids start to go out on their own and now it's just us and maybe our spouse, we start looking at things way differently because now we don't have this little person.
Yeah,
De-
absolutely.
yeah, dependent on.
Yeah, because I will say this, that when I had wanted to leave like 8 years before I actually left, but my
Mhm.
son was still in school. I didn't feel like I could make it on my own. Just trying to figure out, like, well, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And once he graduated high school, and it was just my husband and I, and things were not necessarily changing for the better. Um, he was okay with things the way it was. I
Hmm.
wasn't. I just was ready for something different. And our divorce wasn't anything that was uh, rough or difficult or harsh. We parted as, you know, I just need to do something different because I can't stay in the status quo of things.
Right.
So it was a definite mind shift, and I decided I'm choosing me as opposed to staying in something that wasn't growing anymore. It had run its course.
Yeah. And
And
do you think I think that sometimes that's very difficult for us as women to make
mhm,
that decision because we're so indoctrinated to put others first,
yeah, for sure,
be caregivers, and always think about other people's feelings.
for
Uh,
sure.
and I'm really happy, you know, even in my work, I do a lot of work with a lot of women, you know,
Mhm,
professionals, and I'm really happy to see a lot of women putting themselves first sometimes for a change because
mhm,
we do give out a lot, and I
yeah,
do really think that we have been trained to like put our
mhm,
feet back, right? And
yeah,
I'm sure when you're thinking back about that time period when you're like, listen, I just can't do this anymore. A lot
mhm.
of times I think men are okay with just the status quo. Like they're like, oh, well, like what's wrong? And we're like, yeah, like no, this isn't working for me anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I was not only was I married for 21 years, but I was married to a pastor for 21,
So
for
that
that
adds like
time.
an added layer here, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Do
was concerned about what the congregation was going to think, concerned about what, the people who in our jurisdiction was going to think, just
like you're a
concerned
whole
about,
lady.
yeah, I was a whole first lady. And so, I was concerned about all of those things. And I was trying to keep up that image of, we're good, we're happy, and then we go home and we're in two separate rooms.
Yeah.
Like
Do
I'm
you
in the living room,
so
he goes to his office, and
take
it's
me to
like,
that. Take me to that because I feel like a lot of people do that, right?
mhm.
Did you feel fake putting
I
all
did.
you did?
Absolutely. I felt fake, because I'm sitting up and I'm smiling and I'm hurting inside, I'm crying inside, and I'm listening to this man preach and talk about,
Well, that's
families and all of these different things. And I'm like, but you're not doing it. But
right. And our family is a mess.
yeah.
But what do you think
Um,
that, like, Regina, where do you think that comes from? Like, do you think that we're just taught to, because I talk about this a lot, right? And I get, like, I feel like sometimes I'm like the black sheep in my family because I kind of just say it. Like, I think we were taught in a way to, like, hide certain things. But I
of
don't
course.
really think it's beneficial for us. Like, sometimes, not to say you need to put all your business out there, but sometimes calling a thing
Mhm.
helps you move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember listening to, this was like years ago. TD Jakes was preaching at Azusa.
Mhm.
I think it was like maybe his first time preaching at Azusa. This was before, like the old TD Jakes before.
Yeah, girl, the new stuff.
Yeah. And he preached a sermon called Show Them Your Wounds. And that was so profound for me. And I still remember it because it's like we hide so much of the things that got us to where we are, and what we present to people is this so-called finished product. But people are left wondering, but how did you get there? But
Yeah.
this is where I am. and I can't really relate to what I see in front of me because
You're
I'm
not,
broken, I'm hurting. And what did you have to come through to get to this space? And so sometimes we have to show them our wounds, show them how we, the thought processes that we had to go through to get to where we are, which is what I tend to do in therapy.
that's so
Is
profound.
sometimes I need to show you my wound so that you can understand that it's possible.
Yeah, and you can get through. You can
You
get past.
can you can get through.
I love that concept. Show me
Yeah.
your wounds. I think that that's so profound. I think if more people were willing to see their
Mhm.
wounds as a strength versus a weakness,
Yes.
as something that they are a overcomer,
Hmm.
is I'm this trauma,
Yeah.
person damaged.
Right. But I also want to say this to in that process that I had to go through, I did not see myself as a victim. Okay.
Okay.
I know that I had a part to play also.
So the
And I also
accountability piece
take
is
accountability.
okay.
Yes, because I think that sometimes people get stuck in that. They did this to me. This happened to me. And the world is against me. Everybody is against me. Hold on.
Right. Where's your part in
What's
this?
what's your part?
Right.
Because you do have a part. And so that
Do
is
you
also a
usually
part of the healing process. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Because you're just making me think. And
Mhm,
I'm an advocate of therapy. I always
mhm,
say to people, like, I think that it's a great thing to talk to someone outside of your realm, because you're going to your friends or your family
mhm.
and you're talking about your problems, and they have like the same background as you, same experience
Correct.
as you. So they're
Correct.
not giving you a different perspective. They're not giving you anything different. A lot of them are just going
Mhm,
to agree with you because
mhm,
family. So I'm a huge advocate of therapy. But when
mhm,
I hear sometimes people talk about it negatively,
mhm,
I think that is because of that accountability piece, maybe that they're not open to.
mhm.
So, do you find it difficult to just give people that raw, like, okay, like I heard what's going on and da 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 da,
Mhm.
but where do you come in at on this piece?
Yes. I don't find it difficult, but I do, depending on who's sitting in front of me, I have to take my time to get there sometimes,
Okay, okay,
you know, because I need you to understand that I'm not saying this to be malicious or to try to hurt you or anything like that. I'm doing this out of love. And I can recall when I was working at SOAR, Survivors of Abuse and Recovery.
mm-hmm.
Um, and this one lady, just asking, well, how do you see therapy going for you? What's your take on how things are going between the two of us? And she was a Caucasian lady, and she said the difference between you and the therapist that I have been seeing for the past several years is that you're not trying to pat me up and make me feel good and tell me all of the things that I want to hear. Oh, it's okay. I
Yeah.
know that you've been through so much. She says, but what you do, she said, and it was difficult for me in the beginning to take it. She said, when you would call me out on stuff,
Ah,
she said, but I had to understand that you were not doing it to hurt me. You were doing it to make me see myself in this.
and that's important.
And that is important.
So, do
Yes.
you think that therapy should be like a years and years long thing, or should this be like when we're going to the medical doctor and we need like physical therapy, a period of time? What's your thoughts on that, Regina?
Exactly. I do not think that therapy need to be years and years and years on end. Um, because at some point I'm gonna like, you know what, maybe I'm not the best therapist for you. Maybe
Okay.
you need to find someone else who can help you on this next journey, this next phase of your journey. And I've had to say that to people too. because if it doesn't look like we're making progress, or you want to just continue to rehash the same story over and over and over and over and over again, maybe I'm not the person, to help you. Let's see if we can find somebody else who's a better match for you or whatever. But I do believe that, there should come a space and time where you are putting in the work, you are doing the work, and you are making progress.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna ask you a question because we've touched on a couple different things, and everything that I get out of you is like that you have like totally redefined yourself, and that you help other people redefine themselves.
Mhm.
So what what would wisdom would you give to someone that is like looking to redefine themselves at this stage of their life?
I think starting with, what is it that I really believe? Because our belief system is what runs our life, right? If I believe that I'm not capable, that the world is against me, that I'm not enough, I need to go back and, where did that belief system start, and dismantle it.
Okay.
And then work on the the thought processes that we have,
Hmm.
working on, well, who is it that I want to now become, and how does that person think, how does that person move, how does that person behave, what does that person look like, and now how do I need to grow and change in order to become that.
Hmm. I like that. I
I don't
really
know
like
if that
that.
answers your question.
It definitely does. You answered it above and beyond. So, one thing that we have in common, you and I, is that we are moms of sons.
Mhm.
So, when you talk to your son, what is like the biggest, I would say, like the biggest thing that you want him to remember about his mom?
Oh, that his mom is present, that she cares and wants the absolute best for him. Um, he and I do a lot of talking about thought processes,
Okay.
and he has told me about things that I have done when in raising him that impacted him negatively. And I listen and don't try to make excuses. He said,
Hmm.
but I did what I thought was best at the time. And I'm also operating as a mom out of my own beliefs, hurts, disappointments, or whatever. You bring all of that into parenting. But I want him, he knows that he can come to me and talk to me about whatever it is, even if it's about me.
Yeah, and that's so
It's
important.
okay. Yeah.
I think that that's so important because I don't know if previous generations had that openness. I feel like,
Yeah.
I talked to my mom about that. Like, there's certain parts of like my upbringing that I did take into raising my kids, and then there's certain parts that I threw away because I
Yeah.
wanted them to have that openness with me. Because we're
Mhm.
not perfect, right? We're still learning as parents and stuff, but it's important to be able to like speak your truth even with your
Mhm.
parents. Um,
Mhm.
and sometimes there's not I feel like maybe in a different generation there was like kids are you're always my kid no matter how old you are, and it's like seen not heard,
Mhm.
don't say your true feelings, but sometimes just getting it out,
Yeah.
especially in adulthood, like
Mhm.
I know your son's an adult, my sons are adults, just getting it out, even if it's
Mhm.
and in a respectful manner, it makes you feel better that now your mom knows how
Mhm.
what she did or maybe what she said impacted you, or how you felt about it. Because sometimes as moms, like you said, we don't know. We were just operating out of our own wounds or where we were at the time, just trying to
Right.
do best.
Mhm.
So
And as much as we say we don't want to be the parent that we be our parents, sometimes that stuff just seeps in. unbeknownst to us. It just be, because I think about some of the stuff that he said. I'm like, that was my dad.
Yeah.
That was my dad. And I always said, I
Un-
didn't want to be that person
unconsciously, right?
unconsciously.
You're just
Yeah.
moving along. You're just
Hmm. But I'm so grateful that my son and I have an amazing relationship. And we birth these kids into this world. We train them, we teach them, we do all of those things, but they don't belong to us.
mm-mm, they don't.
They
They,
don't belong to us. They have thoughts, visions, and desires of their own that is totally separate from us. You
right,
know,
right. And today's conversation with you really does remind me, and our listeners, I hope that it reminds you that healing is not about erasing our past. It's more about like you said, gaining clarity, building
mhm,
skills going forward,
mhm,
reclaiming all of our senses and
mhm,
ourself.
mhm.
I think that identity, like, it really evolves when we're willing to do the work
Yeah.
and trust the process, and people like you that are out here actually helping people. And I think that we really need to give ourselves permission to grow. Um,
Yes.
you know, go ahead. I'm sorry.
A part of that is accepting this is what the past was, you know, because people go, well, I don't understand. Well, why this happened to me and why? I don't know why. I'm just accepting that this is what it was. Now, how do I move forward from that and not live in that and allow it to dictate what my future is going to be?
I love that. So, one final thing before we wrap up.
Oh, this was quick.
Yeah, I told you it wasn't gonna be too in depth. I want you to tell everyone how they can reach you, because a lot of our listeners, again, they're at different stages of their life. They're looking for you, and people like
Oh,
you. So tell us how they can reach you if they need to. Um, Go ahead, and then I have one final question for you before I let you go.
okay. So I need to change the information on my website because um, I believe that things happen as they should for us. And so I am now, even though I'm still Ames Counseling Services, I
Hmm.
am also under Life Stream Behavioral Health.
Okay.
So um, I got into a car accident
Oh no.
and ended up going to a chiropractor. The chiropractor has a practice of where he also has a group of therapists under him, that work out of his building. So he invited me to come and be a part. And
Look
at
at
a
there.
time,
You see, look at how opportunities just line up.
strategic, yes,
Yes.
at a time when things were really when I was questioning where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do with my practice.
Hmm.
So I'm under live stream, and in order to contact me, you would call this number 302. I don't know the number by heart, so I'm reading
It's
it.
okay. It's fine. However they.
302 798 4400.
Okay.
And sh- I now have someone who can make scheduling for me, which
Oh,
is great.
perfect.
I don't
So
have to
they
do it
can
myself.
schedule right through that number.
Correct.
If they call there, can they
Correct.
also still contact you through Ames Counseling, or you're
Yes,
going?
they can.
Okay,
They
so
can.
go through Ames Counseling.
And um, I'm just trying to get used to letting somebody else do those things for me.
Because we all are
But
trying to let go of the control.
yeah. It's the thing, trying to let go of control of things. And that's something we talk about a lot in therapy.
Listen,
Is
we talked about it on the podcast on previous episodes. It's tough letting go of that control,
yeah,
but it's
yeah.
necessary for growth. It's
It
definitely
is.
growth.
It
So,
is.
this is my final question for you.
Hmm.
What's the one thing that you want our listeners to remember about themselves as they continue in their healing journey?
To be kind and gracious to yourself during this process, because we can get in the habit of beating ourselves up and it impedes our progress.
I love that.
So as we continue to evolve, be loving and be kind to you, because this is it's a journey. It's a process. Is healing is not linear. Sometimes we take 10 steps forward and 4 steps backwards. And when we go backwards, it's okay. Just get up and get back on track and begin again. And I don't care how many times you got to begin again, just keep doing it, because one of those times you're gonna look back. It's like, oh my God,
Look where I
here I
am.
am.
That's the
Yeah,
tagline here. Begin again. Keep beginning. New begin.
keep doing it again and again and again, and that's what I'm doing.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for being willing to come on. I know, like we said in the beginning, this was a stretch for you, but you see, it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't difficult.